Well, with that, I'd just like to say hello, guests and audience. My name is Dylan Lee, and I'm a Director of Finance for Dear Asian Youth. I'm very honored to be given this opportunity to introduce our organization to all of you today. So this is going to a quick outline of our presentation for those who are interested. Our part one will be introductions. Part two will be the impact we've had. Part three will be our past projects, and part four will be our next steps. So a quick introduction. So Day's story began in April of 2020, just a little over a year ago. It was actually originally a personal project for Stephanie Hu, our executive director, and was supposed to be something of a poetry blog. But today, after the hard work and passion of over 200 members on the national team, Dear Asian Youth is now a fully fledged 501c3 organization with over 186 chapters across the globe. Everything we do, from the virtual events that we host to the literature that we publish, is geared towards fulfilling our mission. Dear Asian Youth, Day for short, works to promote intersectional activism, solidarity with other marginalized communities, and equality and equity. Through our digital platform, grassroots organizing, and community-based advocacy, we strive to showcase diversity in the Asian community, as well as provide accurate and holistic representation. Our impact, our unique mission, as previously mentioned, allows us to explore the untouched territories of Asian youth activism. This makes us one of the leading voices in the youth activism sphere. From one Gen Z to another, we're able to tap into the minds of young people. We know what works and what doesn't. We understand social media marketing. We know how to create a viral digital brand that achieves a balance between aesthetics and digestible information. Our remoteness allows us as flexibility to conduct change anywhere and everywhere. Despite being virtual, we see our influence manifest in the physical world as well. We impact communities around the world through our chapters, as our chapters take a piece of Dear Asian Youth back to their own communities, transforming their homes to be more engaged, more accepting, and more empowered. We work to further discussion throughout the community through hosting innovative webinars, workshops, and campaigns to engage our audience in conversation on societal issues and strengthen the bond of the Asian community. And we bring power to Asian youth's voices and words as we feature prose, poetry, opinion pieces, and visual content, aiming to diversify the Asian narrative and bring newfound awareness to issues of global significance. Finally, we work to empower and bring communities together through storytelling, as our podcast spotlights the personal stories of Asian women from all walks of life to bring an intersectional and relatable point of view. So we've told you about our influence, but what about the numbers to back it? Well, we have over 110,000 followers on our Instagram alone, more than 24,000 plays on our podcast, and 400 plus expository and literary pieces published on our website. Notably, we've also hosted 30 webinars, workshops, and campaigns. And this is all possible because of our robust membership. Currently, 234 people on our core team, supported by an additional 186 chapters across the planet, each with over 20 plus members. Our chapters. Since the launch of our Day chapter program in July of 2020, we've expanded to include over 145 US-based chapters in 24 different states and 41 international chapters. Our chapter program serves as the extension of the central Dear Asian Youth organization, with our chapter leads, the leaders of our local chapters, taking the mission and the goals of Day and bringing it to the local schools and communities. This past year, our chapters have hosted numerous discussions and webinars and have taken part in many different initiatives, including raising money for Open Meal, an organization based in California aimed at helping food insecure families and small businesses affected by COVID-19, Phone Bank to help those residing in POC communities get registered to vote, advocated for curriculum and policy changes in their cities and states, and much more. For example, before the November 2020 election, our Day at USC chapter launched their #IVoteBecause social media campaign aimed at increasing voter turnout and got over 200 plus people to participate. With our social media platforms, we have organized various campaigns across different accounts, including, but not limited to, personal well-being during elections, voter mobilization through social media checklists, and phone banking, as well as various fundraisers for intersectional causes such as food insecurity and more. With more than 110,000 followers globally, our international social media platform has reached millions of people on topics of culture, advocacy, and other social issues. To make sure that we continue to create and curate stunning, holistic, and accurate content, the social media team houses 4 sub-departments: the social media managers, illustrators, video editors, and moderators that all specialize in different aspects to make our vision for Day come to life. This is a quick snapshot of what we have done and the potential we hold for the future of youth advocacy. Diversity and inclusion. In our mission to produce accurate content, Dear Asian Youth strives to set the standard for diversity through intersectionality. DAY has created an internal diversity and inclusion task force, DITF for short, composed of a diverse group that is representative of all regions of Asia. The DITF has three main objectives. A, vetting. DITF worked closely with all departments to ensure that all DAY content published uses diverse and inclusive language and visuals. B, advocacy. DITF aims to advocate for all Asians internally and externally. This is done by maintaining an accountability system and even supporting initiatives such as research guides with accurate information about different regions of Asia to facilitate our writing process that is easier and free of bias. Finally, promotion. The DITF promotes diversity through events such as the Town Hall Initiative, which aims to start conversations about often overlooked subjects, such as mental health. Dear Asian Girl. Another integral part of our social media platform is our podcast, Dear Asian Girl. Our podcast not only shares the personal experiences of Asian women, but focus on highlighting, uplifting, and supporting Asian girls all around the world through relatable and timely content with a twinge of humor. An example of this is our second season, which explored the power of politics. Through an intersectional lens, we discussed equal opportunity, accountability, identity, and more. Our podcast recently hit 24,000 plus plays, which only goes to show that the future is made for Asian girls by Asian girls. Our virtual events. In addition to our podcast, we've hosted over 30 webinars, but I'd like to highlight a few that are specifically geared towards civic engagement. In collaboration with Reclaim Our Vote, we hosted a webinar that educated our audience on the history of Asian American voter suppression, then engaged our community to phone bank to mobilize voters of color. Our Asians in Politics panel then invited government representatives and officials to discuss the importance of representation and civic engagement in our day-to-day lives. Our chapters, too, have been involved in local acts of civic engagement, including phone banking, canvassing, community events, and webinars. Women of Color Conference. Our biggest virtual event yet has been the Women of Color Conference hosted in March of 2021, which was in collaboration with 3 other youth organizations. The conference sought to inspire young girls and women of color to become the change in their communities. Through our 2-day conference, we exposed women of color to industry leaders through engaging panels. We hosted panels like Women of Color in Politics, Media, Performing Arts, Business, Film, STEM, and Activism. The conference was a huge success with over 4,800 attendees calling in from across the world. We also were able to offer $4,000 in scholarships and a mentorship program, and were able to secure up to 54 sponsors. So what's next? You've seen our mission, impact, and now I want to highlight what our potential future holds. First, through speaking engagements, we want to work with notable figures to reach a bigger audience in order to raise awareness and educate others about pertinent civic issues. Second, we want to provide competition prizes and strong incentives to motivate our followers to canvass, phone bank, and perform other forms of grassroots advocacy. Third, in the Women of Color Conference, we implemented mentorships, providing girls of color the ability to learn about their intended area of interest on a personal level with a Women of Color mentor, and we want to continue fostering professional networks for our youth. And finally, we want to use money to donate, ranging from GoFundMes, hate crime victims, and emergency charities. We believe in putting our money where it is most needed. DAY has created a 5-year plan to show us what we want to be as an organization in 2026. Our statement is as follows. Dear Asian Youth serves as a platform that amplifies and empowers Asian voices where all people are able to educate themselves and create unity within the Asian community on a global scale. All Asian ethnicities are adequately represented and present within Dear Asian Youth's work. They is an established and well-known nonprofit 501c3 organization rooted in advocacy, education, and philanthropy, fostering strong relationships with other similar organizations. Dear Asian Youth's robust financial backbone, thriving chapter system, and mutually beneficial relationships with other large organizations ensures its longevity and dedication to serve Asian youth for generations to come. And that's really it. This is what we want to do as Dear Asian Youth. We have a lot of goals, we have a lot of hopes, we have a lot of dreams, and we want to work with different partners within the CLUSA branch, the NCLA umbrella, to make that a reality. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me right now or at my email, which I can put in the chat right now. And feel free to drop any questions you might have about what we've been doing, the work that we've done, or the work that we want to do in the future. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much. Sorry for some of the background noise, but that was an excellent presentation. So does anyone have any questions or points of discussion, I suppose? Marcia?
Hi, Dylan. Excellent presentation. I'm Marcia Galanco of Apapa. I would like to find out, is this a model being set up for other organizations to follow? And is it, I'm asking as a question, and because I'm so impressed with the details and the structure and the mission, etc. And I would say for startup organization, this would be a good model to follow. So yeah, so that's my question.
So just to clarify, you're asking if we have some sort of template for other organizations to
yes.
As of right now, we have a general template of how our entire structure is set up. It's an internal thing as of right now because it is something that our executive director, Stephanie, who worked really hard to curate and accomplish. I think we're considering, because right now we're expanding our chapter system, and as a result, these chapters are basically miniature Dear Asian Youths. And so we're kind of streamlining that for our chapter specifically right now. So it's still staying internal within the organization. I'm not sure if it's going to be publicized anytime soon, but we do have that template that does exist.
And the second part is, if there's a template, is it only one, or is it a choices that other startup organizations can use?
As an organizational structure, we only have one setup that we really use. In accordance with our social media and whatnot, we do have different structures that we can implement, and we have implemented in the past, and we still implement now.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I see a question in the chat. Day's social media is amazing. Can you say a little bit more about it? Yeah. So our social media department is by far the largest we have within Dear Asian Youth. We have over 100 members dedicated just to our social media. This means that all sorts of things that we do, the media that we create, takes a lot of time and takes a lot of people's efforts and dedication to ensure that it works properly. As of right now, it's a little slowed down only because school has started and we are almost a completely student-led organization. And we see that oftentimes we have to prioritize, and our students will, our team members, we do our best to accommodate as we can. Day's social media has been relatively large in terms of our sort of following and our interaction. I know right now, as of right now, we have 110,000 followers, and several of our works have made it to large news medias, including CNN, Good Morning America, so on and so forth. And I believe we were just reached out to for an interview by Fox News. So we do have the sort of impact that we've been curating. The social media team led by Mia Sato and Namrata Kella are incredible. They put so much time and effort into everything that we do, every post that we make. There's a lot of work that goes in behind it. And we try to do our best to ensure that our content is not only engaging, but also relevant and accurate. Financial challenges and fundraising ideas. We definitely have a lot of fundraising ideas that we're beginning to execute right now. Financial challenges, as of right now, because we started out completely as a student-led organization with zero funding, it was difficult to get started, but also because of that, we're used to being very bare bones and maximizing everything we have. Every little penny that goes into the account, into our organization, we ensure is used to its full potential. Right now, our financial challenges aren't too great, only because we have we've gotten a few sponsors that have given us a generous amount of money, and we are able to keep our expenses so low that right now, we do not face any real financial burden. I'm happy to take any questions if you want to ask video/live or in chat. I'm happy to answer. I think we have 3 more minutes.
Yeah, we have about 3 minutes. So if you guys have any other questions, make sure to get them out now. Otherwise, we will take 3 minutes to kind of set up for the next 2 presentations.
All right. Well, you do have my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us. Oh, we have another. What is your suggestion for starting to establish a social media presence for an organization? Really, it's about consistency. I can't totally speak to this as I'm not one of the social media directors and I wasn't in charge of the social media, but I have worked long enough with them that I have a general idea of how it works. A lot of it is consistency because unfortunately these days, a lot of social media presence is established through virality. It's very much a hit or miss luck sort of based draw. But as I believe, you have to be ready for when luck hits. And so as a result, we've been continuously putting out quality content repeatedly, consistently. And when the post that we make hits virality, achieves some sort of algorithmic based success, then we're able to establish our social media presence a little bit more. Every time we get one of those viral posts, that's when we expand. And so right now we just keep on putting out consistent content, and every once in a while we'll hit the bullseye, and that's what we need to establish. Yeah. Regarding any major events coming soon, right now as it stands, we don't have any major events because of how things are reopening post-COVID, and we were established during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our events are still slowly starting to transition to in-person events, but because we're more used to the online event format, and that's what we've been built to do. We're working on right now, and we're establishing this sort of network that we need in order to establish these in-person events. So as of right now, we don't have any major events scheduled, but they are coming up and we are planning them. We are coming into 1 more minute. I don't want to cut into Detesters' time because I know they're a fantastic organization. So just once again, thank you all for your time and attention as I presented this. Feel free to reach out to me through dylan@dearasianyouth.org. I put the email in the chat as well. I would be happy to answer any further questions or connect you with our team regarding any sort of work that we might do together. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to go ahead and set things up for Detester. So Detester, are you guys here?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Go ahead, set things up, and whenever you're ready, take it away.
Hello everyone, we are Detest Magazine, and today we'll be presenting about our organization. So to get started, we are going to be introducing the presenters, which are myself. My name is Hui-Wen Chen. I go by she, her, hers. I'm the founder and executive director at Detest Magazine. I'm also a first year at Harvard University.
Hi everyone, I'm Dorothy. I go by she, they pronouns. I'm the co-project director at Tester, and I'm currently a high school senior.
Hello, my name is Chloe Mashana. I'm the other co-project director, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm based in the Washington, D.C. area, and I'm a high school junior.
So we're gonna talk about a little about the inspiration behind the Tester magazine. So it was originally founded in 2019 by me and 2 other close friends of mine. And we were inspired by the perceived lack of accessibility for people of color students to engage in activism and advocacy. And we felt that many of the youth and non-youth led platforms that our peers engaged in were dominated by white individuals. So we wanted to provide a space that really amplifies the voices of people of color. And we wanted this to be a space where people can share their creativity and their voices freely. So right now, our mission is to promote racial solidarity among youth of color through creative expression and intersectional advocacy. And for our vision, we envision a world where communities can celebrate each other's similarities and appreciate differences through this diverse representation and racial equity. So we have a team of 60+ people of color youth who represent 7+ different countries around the world. And we are mostly high school and university students. On the left, there is a collage of pictures of the directors. These are some of the directors on our board. And for our departments, we have 8 departments, including graphics, content editing, marketing, podcast, project, web development, and multimedia. Later in this presentation, we'll highlight some of our departments and the work that they do. Each department has a unique work and mission, so they touch up on different parts of our organization in order to create great work in our organization. So we'll be moving onward to our impact, in which Chloe will be talking more about this.
Yes, so our impact in terms of our statistics, we have over 200 publications with 20+ projects, and we've featured over 100 POC creators, and we have 2 zines. And in terms of press, we've been featured in Overachiever Magazine, Gen Z in the Media, and more publications. And at Detester, we really focus on using media as an approach and bridging creative mediums with finding your voice, as well as, Q1, could you mute? I think it's like creating an echo. Okay, thank you. And we combine creative mediums with finding your voice, as well as using social media, which is finding a platform. So to further elaborate on those points, first, in terms of finding your voice, advocacy requires that you reflect on the values and issues that matter to you. And oftentimes individuals are motivated to become advocates for issues that they, or individuals that they personally know are affected by, and also using your voice. So once you have an idea of the topics that you're passionate about and want to advocate for, there need a method to make your voice heard. And this can be done through various platforms, including writing, art, creative expression, protests, social media, and much more. And so applying those ideas to Detester's voice includes our goals, which are amplifying socio-political issues that affect people of color communities, empowering youth of color to raise their voices to combat social injustices, and 3, provide channels of action for youth of color to become more proactive in social activism. And in terms of our platform, Dorothy, can you go back a slide, please? Thank you. So in the slide before. Okay, thank you. In terms of our platform, we have our website and social media. So with over 7,000 followers, our Instagram informs fellow detesters about current events, socio-political issues, and our magazine's projects, as well as more. And on our website, you can find different projects and publications related to social justice and the POC experience. And our website is detester.org. And so our team and advocacy, we encourage our team members to initiate new projects and explore ways to utilize creative mediums to speak about the issues that matter to them. And I believe Dorothy will be further expanding on this point.
Yep, so one of the mediums that we use is our podcast called Detest This, which is hosted by 2 of our wonderful team members, Sophia and Alyssa, and our podcast is called Detest This, which is a thought-provoking podcast that aims to educate others by talking openly about important issues happening around the world that aren't really recognized by the media. And we also want it to be a space where people of color can take back their narrative. And this is a screenshot of one of our first episode, which you can find on Spotify if you search up Detest This. And moving on to our project highlights, one of the things that we wanted to feature today was our monthly POC Creator Spotlight, which is where we feature 1 to 2 under-recognized POC creators on our platforms, including their responses to some of the questions that we ask that are about how their culture has affected their work and who are some of their POC inspirations, as well as some of their work that has been across multiple mediums like poetry, photography, and singing. And this year we had a special submission open call for Pride Month, where we featured specifically POC creators that are also part of the LGBTQ plus community. And you can see a screenshot of our project page on the left of this slide. And these are just some of the featured visual works that we have on our website. You can see the different mediums that our creators have used, like painting and photography to sketching. And another project that we wanted to feature was our Mental Health for BIPOC Youth series. And we acknowledge that the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted many people around the world, especially POC youth. And so we wanted to create a toolkit that brought awareness towards this issue and to help those who are struggling with their mental health during these times. And in our toolkit, we featured some parts about how mental health has been an issue in POC communities, along with some mental health resources. And to also complement our toolkit, we hosted a workshop with some mental health advocates, including Dior Vargas, Gio Kokotakis, and Hannah Bloom.
And now we'll be talking about our publication and highlight some of the publications that have been published on our website. So the first main publication we wanted to highlight is Memoirs of the World. It's an anthology that we published in 2020 in which we encourage people of color youth to submit art and writing about their authentic experiences. And this includes people of color youth from around the world. Some of the things we featured in this anthology were poems, short stories, prose, and art pieces. And all of them shed light on their personal experience on how their culture and identity shape who they are today. And the writing pieces are accompanied by illustrations made by our amazing graphic designers from the Detester team. And on the right, these are some of the pieces that we published, and all of them can be accessed through the website, detester.org. On the left is a cover page made by our graphic designer, Christy. And just this year, we collaborated with another organization called Journals of Justice, and we created this Journal of Intersectionality that celebrated layered facets of individual identity. And it's a mix of prose, poetry, and in-depth research pieces. All of them were written from the perspective of youth creators and shed light on many issues around the world. So this journal really aimed to be a platform that can uplift underrepresented voices and provide them a space to empower themselves and others. And by engaging in these important discussions around important social and political issues of our era, our youth really want to speak out strongly against injustice and find a way to create a more equitable future and advocate for issues that are personally affecting them. So on our website, we also feature art pieces by our own artists, as well as some artists who submit to our website. And these art pieces highlight issues from around the world, from the first person perspective of the creators themselves. So as you can see here on the lower left, we have this painting created by a creator who is located in India, and she was painting about the farmer's dilemma in India. And on the top left, it's a painting in pencil and ink about colorism. And other topics, as you can see here, are climate change. This is a water bottle one, and the turtle both highlight climate change. And then there are creators who created pieces about Black Lives Matter, as you can see on the bottom left, and the photography created on the right that photography is by one of our member who attended a protest, and she took photos of the protest and especially people's protest signs. And on the right is a recent piece published by one of our artists. She was creating this art and writing an artist statement about discrimination against people of color, women of color, athletes.
And in our team, we strive to build a community where we not only work towards the testers' goals of diversity and collective activism together, but we also want to have fun doing so. So on the slide here, you can see some screenshots from our Jeopardy game night for Women's History Month, where we had some friendly discourse, and we also have a screenshot of one of our project meetings that was from our Day in the Life Instagram story series, where some of our directors have been showing our audience members what we've been doing in our lives and what it's like to both work at the tester and manage everything else going on in our lives, which is still on our Instagram, which you can follow at Detest Magazine to see the rest of our Instagram stories.
And that concludes our presentation. Right now, we'll be answering some questions, comments, and suggestions you have from the audiences. And we are also going to be able to be reached out through our email at info@detester.org, or you can visit our website or follow us on Instagram for more information.
Thank you so much for the really great presentation. I think you guys are already getting some questions in the chat if you want to go ahead and answer those. I think there's one from Marsha. Yeah, if you guys want to answer that.
Yeah, is it the one about amplifying AAPI public persona?
Mhm.
Yeah, so earlier today, we actually presented one of our project, which is Standby AAPI Conference. So I can put the link in the chat for our conference recording and a little bit about the conference. So it was a conference hosted on May 30th, in which we collaborated with two other youth organizations, Gen Z We Are the Future and ASEAN Activists. So in this conference, we wanted to invite prominent speakers who are from the Asian and Pacific Islander communities to talk about different issues. So we had three main panels. One of them was reimagining history, and the second one was about activism. And the third one was about mental health in the Asian and Pacific Islander community. All of them were accompanied later by a toolkit and take action section where we made a Google Doc with a list of actions and external links where people can learn about different issues, such as the COVID-19 crisis in India and anti-Asian hate crime. So all of those were included in this take action document. And during the conference, we had the session where we just signed petitions. We made email templates for advocacy or petitions and protest templates. And if you want to learn more about the Standby AAPI conference, we encourage you to look at the link that I just sent in the chat, and you can access the full recording of that conference.
Great answer. Does anyone else have any questions before we go ahead and wrap this up and move on to the next presentation? Oh, there's another question in chat if you guys want to answer that.
Yeah, I can probably help answer this question. So I think that there are a lot of different, so the question's asking like what policies and forms of advocacy will have the biggest long-term impact for global POC and how Detester is working on that. And I think that there are a wide variety of ways to promote like long-term improvement on the lives of POC globally. But I think at least at Detester, we really focus on since we focus on a digital aspect, we can reach people all over the world and we can share we really focus on amplifying youth voices so we can highlight different people from different areas and really just the power of storytelling and really communicating with people who aren't directly from your community or people who might have a different experience than you, but still learning to empathize with them and celebrate your differences and appreciate the people that you are. Dorothy or Huan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would also just like to point out that at Detester, we like to focus on a lot of intersectional issues. So looking at issues that involve multiple perspectives. And for example, we've been working on autism acceptance month project that we started a few months ago, and we've been working collaboratively with some authors to create a survey about how specifically POC individuals that also have autism have experienced discrimination in the classrooms, and that's typically not an issue that many people know about or is even raised in the media. And that's just one issue that we wanted to highlight. And also on our through our content on our social media pages and also our publications, we really want to incorporate multiple perspectives and highlight the issues that no one else is talking about.
Yeah, and to just add on, we really believe in the power of collective advocacy, the power of different people coming together with the same mission, with the same goals, and working towards accomplishing those goals and visions that we have. So at the Tester, we have like a diversity of people who are from all around the world, and I am inspired by my teammates who give me new perspective every day. And even though we have many differences, we are all united by a common mission. We are all passionate about social justice. I think the power of this connection really can help us move forward in the future.
Thank you very much for the thorough answer. So it is now 11:10, so thank you, Detester Magazine, for your wonderful presentation. We're now going to move on to our final presentation of the day, which is, well, before the ceremony, and that is going to be by Silicon Valley Youth. So looks like you guys are co-host. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you so much. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so hi everyone. This is the presentation for Silicon Valley Youth. First and foremost, I'd like to thank CLA for providing us with this opportunity to present here, as well as listen to the presentations of all the other groups, which have been really inspiring to myself, and I'm sure like everyone else here. So thank you very much. My name is Ann Lee. I'm a current high school junior, and I'm also the current EVP of Human Resources at SVY. And I'm joined here together with Ann Ping today, a high school sophomore who is the VP of Learning and Development. So just to begin with, a little bit about who we are as SVY. So Silicon Valley Youth is a student-run 501c3 nonprofit where high schoolers teach local students and take the profits to help underfunded school districts. We were founded in 2015 by two Gunn High School students, Brian and Benjamin Owens. And since then, our organization has grown from just them teaching a single class and helping the community from there to really a large organization with many teachers and a really wide impact across our community. Our mission is to develop the intellectual, moral, civic, and creative capabilities of youth in our community so that they can serve and lead our society. And to achieve our mission, we have two major things we do here at SCY. The first one is teaching courses. So every staff member at SCY is first and foremost a teacher. So regardless of any other responsibilities we might have, every single staff member at SCY teaches a class. The class is normally a 6 to 10 week course targeted towards middle school students from across the Bay Area. And these curriculums are completely designed and taught by the students themselves. So as you can see here, we have some examples of the courses that we teach. There's a really wide range from computer science to humanities, mathematics, public speaking, and the sciences. And it ranges anywhere from courses you might find in a typical school curriculum like physics or world history to certain competitions like USACO or MC8 to other things like extracurriculars and just hobbies such as web design and creative writing and current events. So really just a wide variety of courses based on the teacher's expertise and targeted towards any students who might be interested in these classes. So here are just some examples of flyers all designed by our teachers to advertise their classes. Again, some more examples. We have biology, game design, intro to public speaking and debate, which is actually the first class that was offered here at SCY and the class that our organization grew from, and then SCY book club. So again, just an idea of like the wide variety of classes and the variety of teachers we have here at SCY. And just a little bit about the numbers. Over the past 6 years, we've offered 281 classes in 7 different locations. Of course, now with the pandemic, all our classes are online, but before then we had physical classes. And through those classes, we've taught more than 2,800 students in more than 55 cities, or from 55 cities. And from the tuition we charge from the classes, we have raised over $270,000, all of which we have donated to charitable causes. So I'm really glad to see how much of an impact we have made from teaching classes to children across the area. So not only spreading our knowledge to other kids, but also being able to use that money to impact even more students from the community. Okay, yeah, so just before we move on to the second part of SCY, here's just a testimonial from one of the parents in the competitive speech class. I'm not gonna read it out, but it's just really nice to see that how students are impacted by the classes that we teach and how concrete of a impact we're making in our community from these singular stories that parents share with us. So yeah, this is something that we're very proud of. So the second part of what SUA does is community contributions. From the tuition that we charge for each of our classes, we have raised, as I mentioned before, more than $270,000, all of which we have used to support school districts across our community to help enrich their programs. So the 2 school districts we work the closest with are the Ravenswood City School District in East Palo Alto and the Franklin McKinley School District in San Jose. Here's just a list of some of the projects we've worked on throughout the past 6 years. This isn't a comprehensive list, it's just a few examples. So our first donation was to the Ronald McNair Academy in 2015. We donated a kiln to the art program in the Ravenswood School District. We sponsored a writing contest as well as an anti-bullying writing contest in 2017. We also helped give gift cards to homeless students and hosted a leadership panel. And I'll go into each of these in a little bit more detail in the next few slides, but hopefully this gives a broad overview of the variety of the impact that we make across the community over these past few years. So, okay, a little bit more detail about the first project we worked on in 2015 was a donation of a variety of things to the Ronald McNair Academy in East Palo Alto. These range from school supplies to kitchen materials to, as you can see here in the picture, basketballs and other sports equipment. So we really try to identify what these organizations are lacking in terms of their curriculums and help support them. So for example, athletics in this picture is really important to student enrichment, and it isn't as focused on in a lot of funding programs as academics. So we really hope to encourage athletics in these students by donating these basketballs and whatnot. Also, another area that we really focus on is the art program for the East Palo Alto School District. So we donated $9,000 for a kiln so that they could start a ceramics class in their schools. And also, we haven't pictured this on the slides, we donated quite a bit of money to fund them purchasing musical instruments like violins and cellos to really enrich their music program. So really, again, supporting these non-academic programs that are still crucial to student growth and learning. And we've also sponsored a variety of writing contests in the East Palo Alto or the Ravenswood School District to really kind of encourage students to hone in on their writing skills and really be motivated to learn writing, because that might be something that students might not want to do without this incentive. So really, we had a first writing contest as well as one focus on anti-bullying. So really focusing the topic of our writing contest, not just on writing in general, but making sure that, or helping students really think about their impact on the community and what they can do to improve it, such as through anti-bullying and whatnot. And as you can see in the picture here, we gave the students rewards such as Beats or AirPods or other gift cards and things. And then another project we worked on in 2018 was gift cards for homeless students or students in financial need, really just to boost their spirits in the holiday season. And it's really just heartwarming to see them see the positive response we get during the holiday season, where really the goal is to just spread joy and like happiness throughout the community. And then finally in 2019, in the Franklin McKinley School District, we hosted a leadership panel where we partnered with the teachers from the school district to run workshops on leadership and really help students design their own pathways to leadership and to develop their own leadership skills. So really, again, emphasizing that non-academic curriculum that is still crucial to student learning and really enriching their school lives. So that was just a little overview of some of the projects we've done over the past 6 years. Next, Amping will talk a little bit about what SUI has been doing over the past 1 or 2 years, specifically addressing COVID-19.
All right, thanks, Emily, for presenting about the earlier stuff. Now we'll talk about Silicon Valley Youth and our work in the pandemic. So obviously in early 2020, when the pandemic set in, we were very surprised, and it forced everybody to make big changes to how our organizations are run. And like many other educational institutions, Silicon Valley Youth was hit very hard because we could no longer have in-person instruction. And so we had to pause that and then had to have a quick transition to online classes. And this was a bit rocky to start, but we managed to do it, mainly because many of our students were already able to have online learning from their schools. But however, this was not the case all around. And yeah, so the community around us faced many challenges, especially in terms of the learning for younger students, because not everybody had access to technology and could do online learning. And this was particularly present in the communities that we were already helping, because the education gap is widening due to the fact that those school districts that already have a lot of resources can invest more in technology and remote learning curriculums, whereas those who are already in need do not have the resources to keep going with live learning. And as a result, many students in East Palo Alto and in the Franklin McKinney School District were falling behind. As a result, we decided to take matters in our own hands and make a number of initiatives, both helping those school districts that are in need and also just helping our community in general. The first thing that we did that we'll talk about is the summer classes that we held in the summer of 2020 and 2021 to help students just get some learning on the summer, and also talk about contentious issues that aren't usually talked about in other classes. In addition, we had a mask project in the early 2020 to help our community, especially this was when there were mask shortages all around the country and we were in desperate need of masks. We had a holiday gift drive last winter that we hope to continue in the future, where we were donating gifts to students. And we also donated $10,000 for iPads for school districts. So let's go into a bit more depth on each of these now. All right, so the summer classes. These were free online classes for pretty much any students in our community, and they covered a variety of subjects relevant to life during the pandemic. So these weren't too similar to the classes we usually hold that are related to like contests and stuff. These are more tailored towards current events, mental health, and medical biology, three big topics during the pandemic. And one particular class to talk about is the current events class. And this one, you can see the flyer over here. This was during the summer of 2020. So we talked about the presidential election, the various social justice movements of the time, and the pandemic's impact on personal lives and the economy. And this was really important because a lot of times students and people in these disadvantaged communities are left out of the question when we talk about current events, and they're just like taken for granted. And it's very important, especially during the pandemic, that young people's voices get heard. So we're doing our part by educating them about current events. All right, now moving on to our mask making project. In March 2020, we organized an effort to make a bunch of homemade reusable masks. And in the matter of a few weeks, we were able to make 2,000 homemade reusable masks to donate to the community. And in addition, we raised $4,000 to purchase surgical masks, which were not reusable, but also very beneficial for our local hospitals, senior centers, and retirement homes. Here are a few images of the process of making and packaging the masks, and then also donating them. Yeah, here we can see like us handing over the masks to different local organizations. And it was really heartwarming to see their response because many of them were really lacking in masks during this time. And they were very glad to have donations of masks, especially in those senior centers where COVID-19 was hitting them really hard. All right, so the iPad donation, this is going back to a little more on education. Especially in the Ravenswood School District, their younger students in pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade couldn't have any live instruction during the pandemic at the beginning because they just simply did not have the technology to like the iPads and the computers to like implement this remote learning. So we donate $10,000 to the school district to implement shelter-in-place remote learning. And this was really critical because it allowed these younger students to be able to continue learning during a stage of their life where it's super important that they have in-person like interactions with people. And yeah, we're really glad to have made a big impact in that front. And then lastly, our holiday gift drive, the winter of 2020-21. We raised around $10,000. We donated $10,000 of toys and gifts for middle schoolers in the Ravenswood School District. This was a big success because like a lot of times, like we focus on like a lot of their educational side, but we don't really focus too much on the fact that these students, they also need to have fun in their lives. And like there's no joy. A lot of people have joy in the holidays when they get gifts from their parents, but people in need don't always get that. So we were really glad to be able to donate toys and gifts for middle schoolers in the school district. And as a result, we provided over 200 students with gift cards for the holidays. Yeah, so on that note, we plan to continue the holiday gift drive. In addition, we're also looking to expand. So the COVID-19 pandemic luckily has provided Silicon Valley youth with many different opportunities to expand. While moving to Zoom is a double-edged sword, while it was pretty sad to see that we couldn't have in-person classes anymore, we were able to expand our teacher and student base to all around the country and even have a few international students attend our classes. This is an example of how we at SUI have turned new challenges into new opportunities. Like, yes, the pandemic was hit really hard in the Bay Area and around the world. And this meant that a lot of people had a lot of negative impacts, but it's a new opportunity for Silicon Valley youth to make a bigger impact on our community, help those in need. And we hope to continue doing so even if and when the pandemic recedes. Especially, we hope to keep our strong relationships with the Franklin McKinney School District and the Ravenswood School District, but we're also open to partnering with other organizations and school districts in the area, especially those that are struggling in the pandemic. All right, on that note, that wraps up our presentation. Now we'll be open to an open Q&A session. I would like to remind everybody though to please visit our website, siliconvalleyyouth.com. It's a bunch of info on not only our past work, but also how you can sign up for classes and even apply to be a teacher. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can please just put them in the chat and we will be happy to answer them.
Looks like there's a couple questions if you guys want to take those.
So one parent asked, how many classes do you have? I don't know the exact number of the classes we're offering this semester, but over the past 6 years, we've taught, I think, over 280 different classes. Typically, in around one semester, we'll have, I'd say, around 30 classes, and each class is taught by 1, 2, or even 3 high schoolers from around the Bay Area who are really kind of like have expertise in that area.
Any other questions? All right, well, if that is the case, we can take these last 2 minutes to kind of open up questions to any of the 3 organizations that just presented. So Dear Asian Youth, Detest Magazine, and Silicon Valley Youth. If anybody has any questions for any of these 3 organizations, now is the time to go ahead and, well, ask it. And also, Silicon Valley Youth, if you guys want to drop, yeah, there you go. Okay, I was about to say, if you guys want to drop contact information, that'd be very helpful. All right, if there aren't any other questions or, I guess, points of discussion, go ahead and join the mixer and the award ceremony using the link that Jingbai just sent in the chat. And thank you guys so much for paying attention during this amazing set of presentations. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the main room.
Thank you.